lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast. Prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's number one lycanthrope, Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf, aka the Beast, aka the Shaggy One. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us. You were lost. You were in a moment. Thanks for joining us this week, listeners. I have some errata to address at the top of the episode. When we were talking to Tim last week, I mentioned Alexei Sherman as a director, but his name is Sherman Alexei, which I knew that. I don't know why I said Alexei Sherman, but also he has directed a film and he did help produce Smoke Signals, but he's more famously a writer of novels, short stories, and poems. So I knew all that. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. So yeah, it's Sherman Alexei, not Alexei Sherman. I apologize. Also, 2 episodes ago, when we were talking about the Paul Naschy film La Marca del Hombre Lobo, I think we both kind of agreed that there's 20-some of the Count Valdemar Daninsky films. There's actually 12. So
I didn't realize that we could go back and correct our mistakes.
Yeah. No, it's we're like the New Yorker.
Okay. I had a long list that I ended up just kind of getting rid of.
Really?
I think for the first 10 episodes or so, I think I've talked to you about this. I had really detailed notes for the issue, but I was just going to wing it for the history portions. And I realized that I had that backwards. And so, yeah, my historical accuracy got a lot better after episode 10, I think.
Well, we were all learning, weren't we?
That's the bummer thing about a podcast is that, you don't want people to listen to the first few episodes.
I know, but they always start there.
But they always start at number 1 and then are like, these guys are fucking morons. And then don't listen to anything else. And you're like, give us a chance. We got better.
Yeah. I guess we could George Lucas it and go back and republish all those episodes and add in some trenchant insights and bone malt. Whatever you call them. But that's not how I operate, man.
No, I know.
So I have to admit, I'm a little nervous about the upcoming episodes because there's 2 giant-sized issues and they've dispensed with the reprints in the back half. So these are all... we got some meaty episodes coming up.
Oh, I already started kind of penciling out how we're going to do that, especially with next episode with Brad coming on, because we love to talk to Brad and we go overtime a lot of times when we talk with him. So
yeah,
I'm going to be a taskmaster on the next episode. I'm going to keep us on track, keep us on time.
Wear a referee shirt and have a whistle.
Okay, I will absolutely do that.
An elaborate part of my fantasy as well. So
I was going to say whatever floats your boat.
So let's move on to this normal-sized issue at hand, which is Werewolf by Night, issue number 30 with a pull date of June 1975. This cover is by Gil Kane, and they think John Romita Sr. did the inks. It's not 100% certain. Is that right?
Yeah, I saw that on GCD, and it's funny on Marvel Unlimited they list Dan Adkins as the inker, but I trust GCD much more.
Really? Okay. So this to me is beautiful Gil Kane stuff, and this looks like an inventory cover. I feel like they told Gil, we'll want you doing some covers for this upcoming series. Bang out some stuff. We'll have some specific stuff we'll have you do at one point, but just have some on hand. And this is one of those, and that is not an insult. I love this cover.
Yeah.
So this is the Beast holding on to an unconscious blonde woman in a red dress. He's on the top of a building, and the full moon is in the background, and there's clouds passing over the moon, and the way the clouds are wisping and changing makes a skull or death's head inside of the moon. So it's gorgeous. And the copy says, Fury beneath a cold full moon, red slash across midnight. And then the bubble at the bottom says, a city trembles as the werebeast stalks the streets. So what do you think?
I think it's a great cover. I totally agree. And I see Ramita in the beast's face and the passed out woman's face as well.
Me too. And his nose and his mouth are very Ramita-y, the way he treats them, as opposed to the way sometimes Perlin kind of does it, or I'm trying to think who else would ink, like Jansen or somebody. But there's that we've commented in recent episodes about the lupine kind of mouth or snout, and this is very Wolfman, which is Ramita to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely Ramita. Would you say that this is a cover where the action does not represent what happens in the issue?
Well, there's a shot of whiskey. So I feel like, considering that he does not stalk the city streets, this is clearly skyscrapers or whatever, and he's not carrying an unconscious woman, and there is no city trembling as the werebeast stalks the streets. This is lying like threefold, so I'm going to have a big old drink of whiskey here.
Okay, double drink.
Those 4 roses.
Oh, my God.
I think that's the only drink this issue, so I'm going to do the other half.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be this kind of show. Okay, finishing the shot.
Because there was a lot of lying on this cover. However, that being said, this is like poster-worthy art, in my opinion. I would have this in a bigger print. I do love that Kane put these like weird flaring mutton chops coming off of the beast that whip out. It's a weird, cool touch that I totally dig. So I love this cover. Top 10.
Yeah, agreed. I love it as well.
Right on.
I'm kind of conflicted on the opening page. So the opening page, our creators for the issue are Doug Munch, writer, Don Perlin, artist, Dave Hunt, letterer. We have someone new as our colorist, Don Warfield, who, this is one of his early issues when he started at Marvel. He hadn't been working very long, but I like the colors in this issue. I think he did a great job.
Me too.
And he would go on to work on a lot of really key issues of Uncanny X-Men, the Avengers. He's also going to come back on this title, I think, on issue 39. And he colors Giant Size Werewolf 4 that we'll be covering next episode.
Right on.
Yeah, so we'll see him a lot more, which I like. I like his stuff a lot. And then we have Len Wein as our editor.
So is he? You're saying this is one of his earliest jobs? Like he's a newcomer to the
he's a newcomer. Yeah, absolutely. And he's
is he still around?
I didn't see anything super recent from him, so okay. I'm not sure he's in the industry anymore. But I'm going to double check that just to make sure. But yeah, so on this opening page, it's a splash page, and it's a similar layout as last issue. It's almost a mirror image in a way. We have but it's not as good at all. It's kind of like a very poor mirror image of last splash page, which was one of my favorites of the series. Really, like I think that was the only time that an opening page reached a Plug level of greatness. This is
a hacky playset.
This is definitely a hacky playset. I mean, it's trying for the Eisner type of title built into the rock. The title is Red Slash Across Midnight, and the letters of the first 3 words are dripping blood. And it's not great. We have Glitter Knight looking down on the beast with the floating head of Lyssa's Were-Demon kind of hovering over him.
Really big.
Really big, yeah.
It's like a Mardi Gras papier-mâché head.
It is. Its eyes are blazing. It's kind of got that gross red tongue hanging out. And it's not great. I did notice a different color palette. Like I definitely noticed that. And the colors are not the problem here at all. And the opening narration isn't great. It's just it's not great. The less time we spend on it, the better.
Okay, but there is a verbal thing that Munch is establishing here. The stench, the doom stench, which comes up at least 2 other times. So he's really into that kind of concept right here.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, this just seemed like kind of a half-assed attempt at what they did last issue. Like, you know, before the title was laid out, it had 3D kind of illusion going on, and a character was interacting and standing on it and stuff. And this one's just like, can we just put it on the cliff side?
I know.
Like, it just seems a little less invested.
Yeah, well, the cliff doesn't even seem finished. Like,
no, it doesn't.
It's just
you can say, well, that's Glitter Knight's light. You know, that's why.
Ugh.
Anyway, on the next page, we get a flashback to the last issue, which kind of explains where we left off in that kind of cliffhanger where Lissa turned back into Lissa, and she woke up and thought that the horrible ordeal that she went through was a dream. There's this nice panel of Topaz, Buck, and Jack kind of looking at each other with this very glum expression, like they don't have the heart to tell her what really happened. And so Jack kisses her on the forehead and says, hey, you know, get some rest. We'll check in on you soon. And they go out and have a little huddle in the hallway. And they're like, so what do we do now? You know, we're right back where we started yesterday. Full moon's going to be back in 6 hours. And this change is going to happen, you know, and what's going to go on? Oh, and Topaz has an idea that there might be a way to prevent her from changing back into the Were-Demon.
Yeah, I think that's the most important setup on this page. Yeah, none of the art even looks right on this page. It's kind of weird. It's not a great start to the issue. But yeah, like you say, Topaz has this idea about Lissa that she explains on the next page. And, you know, she says, oh, I have this idea. And then Jack kind of attacks her like, listen, Topaz, if you know something we don't, you know, like she's not going to tell them unless he threatens her. It's a little bit of a weird move on his part. But she says, I'm not sure, Jack, but, well, do you remember how Lissa transformed? And he's like, oh, you know, I hadn't actually seen it. And he's going back, and it's kind of a recap of 2 issues ago where the moonlight and Glitter Knight's light, you know, turns her into this Were-Demon. Like, yeah, we know all that. And she's like, well, if Glitter Knight was responsible for turning Lissa into that Were-Demon, it stands to reason that he possesses the power to reverse the process. Lissa might still transform into a true werewolf like you, Jack, so it's not a guaranteed cure, but at least it's a start. And then
before you move on to this next bit of business, can we address something here? In that flashback panel where she's talking about the 2 sources of light which polluted Lissa, it says Lissa had apparently changed into an amalgam of werewolf and the demon, which was Glitter Knight's soul. The first time I read that, I glossed over it. The second time, I was like, wait a minute. So it wasn't just his light. That's actually him putting his soul out into her and polluting her. There's a lot of soul weirdness in this issue that I have a lot of questions about.
Yeah, that's the theme of this issue is soul weirdness.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it keeps on coming. It keeps coming up. But now tell me again, I think that Munch was trying to do a cool transition that ended up really clunky.
Yeah.
Like, so these next 2 panels are Jack just kind of looking kind of forlorn and being like, yeah, guess it's worth and then the next panel, he's angry and screaming and like, try to help her, at the very least. But we don't know until the next panel that it's jump cut to him yelling at a tied up Glitter Knight. And again, I think he really is attempting to do these jump cuts that are just
modern.
He's really trying, and I know that's his deal. I know he's a fan of the beat poets. He's a fan of, you know, Burroughs cut up stuff, I'm sure. But his execution on these, it does not work.
Like these 2 panels, which are jump cuts, like you're saying, part of what doesn't work is that the background of each of them is zipatone. So if you had him in the hallway saying, yeah, well, I guess it's worth and then you smash cut to him yelling at Glitter Knight, try to complete the sentence, right? Try to help her at the very least. If the background changed and there's actually a splice, you could follow it visually and say, oh, like the editor is throwing us forward in time and in space to where this is happening, this confrontation. But with the background being zipatone, you're left wondering what the fuck is going on until the next panel. That is not a smart move.
No, it's not. Because when I went down to the panel where he's angry, I'm just like, Jesus, why is he getting so fucking mad at Topaz?
Yeah.
But then you realize that, yeah, on that last panel, he is yelling at Glitter Knight. And, he's saying, hey, Buster, I'm telling you right now, you'd better, or you'll wish you could crawl right back into one of those stinking black eggs of yours. And so Jack is just, screaming at Glitter Knight.
But I don't mind telling you, I'm sick to the queasy gut of your very sight.
Oof. I know.
It's like a second language at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of clunky shit in the beginning of this issue. I think it turns around at the end, but yeah.
It does.
Oof, these first couple pages are rough.
Yeah. I don't know just what you think your trip is. I like that, though.
I always
lingo coming in there. So, yeah, and I love this kind of bad cop routine he takes on here. He's like grabbing Glitter Knight by the side fins, or whatever the hell you call those things. Like, first you come along and rip Topaz's soul right out of her body. Then you turn it into a slimy monster and fling it at us along with a bunch of bat demons. Then, when we're all half dead and helpless, you turn my sister into a hideous obscenity. And that's where the line gets drawn, Buster Brown, drawn in blood. He doesn't say Buster Brown, but it seems like such a mom, Peggy Hill, something Buster. But he's just spitting in his face like bad cop. And he's just getting angrier and angrier. And he's like saying, the rage and bitterness and compassion, every feeling I had for my sister, boiling and seething. He's like, so you just better stinking well believe you're going to help her or you're going to bleed. And Glitter Knight, blindfolded, just looks up to no one and says, Glitter Knight helps no one. And he says, that did it. Boiling and seething wasn't enough now. It was time to explode. And he just fucking lays into Glitter Knight, just a sock across the jaw. And Buck intercedes and says, hey, whoa, come on, calm down. Jack, you're going to kill him. He's defenseless, which, who cares? Is he even from our dimension? Like, is he even human? Is he? Yeah, I appreciate Buck's whatever, but I don't know. Anyway, Jax, recoils and says, all right, you're cool. You're right. And they decide to go check on Taboo and see how he's doing because he's been in and out of consciousness since the whole battle last issue. So they leave Glitter Knight there, and Topaz says, you know what? He's fine because I covered his eyes. And I'm pretty sure that light is his power source and his eyes are his intake channels. So if we have him blindfolded, he's totally helpless. So they just leave him alone and walk off.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. His eyes as intake channels. Again, it's kind of like whatever the most clumsy way to get the point across is what's happening in these first couple pages.
Yeah.
But on the next page, like the inevitable happens because, he's blindfolded, but it doesn't look like, it might as well be cheesecloth because in a series of 4 panels at the top, we see Glitter Knight's blindfold start to smoke and the flames start shooting through it. And he's thinking, fools, insufferable fools, to think that a mere strip of cloth may contain the arcane power, which is Glitter Knight. And so, he blasts himself free and basically, so he's monologuing this whole time. And these panels those middle panels are kind of cool looking. Like they're a little weird. There's some kind of strange plasma stuff going on. So he's just talking about how great he is. And then uses his powers to create like an half illusion, half tulpa of himself that's tied to the newel post. Is that what you
yes.
That what you called it? Okay. All right. But I actually like that Munch has him thinking insane shit about his plans and goals rather than just describing specifically what is happening on the page. Yeah. Like if this was Stan Lee, he'd be going, and now I am using my power to create an illusion.
True.
And so that was where I'm like, okay, this issue's starting to turn around at least a little bit.
Yeah, but to me, this page was another case of like what we're talking about with Tim, where it's like, how much of this is just making this up on the fly? Like, okay, so, we were joking, like a strip of cloth can't stop this guy, obviously. So that makes sense. He can burn through this, but like now he can generate, I don't know, like it seemed like he just does whatever he needs to do that page.
Yeah, he does. No, his powers are infinite. We will constantly learn about all the new things that he can do.
Yeah. So we cut to where Jack, Topaz, and Buck are checking on Taboo, which is not Taboo, but a tulpa made from his essence. And it says, Taboo was shot, 1 foot in the grave and the other a step away from a basket case. Munchie. And so Topaz is saying, can you help? And he's like, I don't think I can. I'm not really taboo. I'm not your dead stepfather. I'm actually just a recreation of this. What is that word? Simulacrum?
Simulacrum, yeah.
Sculpted by Glitter from the fiber of Taboo's soul, not even human. So he's kind of fading. His big psychic battle last issue was like worn him out, and he's kind of running out of juice. So he's kind of starting to fail. Then Jack staggers, and Buck catches him like, whoa, what's up, Jack? You almost hit the floor there. And then so they make Jack lay down, and he says, yeah, I guess I just needed some. And then he passes out into a dream.
So the weird thing about this page, and I know that it's John Warfield trying to color Buck and Jack like they're in shadow, because you can see when Jack is in the light, then he's normal colored, but they're basically colored purple.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I'm a Golden Age comics weirdo, I instantly was thinking about this strip that Tarpe Mills did called The Purple Zombie.
Oh yeah,
they basically look like the Purple Zombie.
Good call out.
Weird though. Weird coloring choice. The rest of the coloring I think is great in this issue, but that one I was like, I know what you're trying to do, but it doesn't quite work.
See, I like that page actually, and I really like that first panel where like Jack is shirtless and he's standing in front of a stained glass window, and so there's just like these deep blacks on his pecs and his abs, just kind of indicate that he's in shadow, which is also kind of doubling for his like, emotional state, I guess. I mean, it's kind of expressionistic. I thought that was cool.
Is your print edition, so Topaz, her face is like half in shadow and half like flesh toned. Is that how it is on yours?
On that first panel?
The first panel there?
Yeah, it's like a very subtle zipatone on the right half of her face.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know what he's trying to do. I guess it just didn't click quite with me. But yeah, no, I get it.
I'll accept that answer.
Yeah. So yeah, the next page, like the top two panels are Jack's nightmare, basically, where he's fighting the were-demon, and they both have human heads on their monster bodies. That's terrifying. It's really, really strange.
I'm a huge fan of this. Huge fucking fan. Like the early Hulk issues, back when they used to change his power set, like every time he would change, and there was like one time where he tried to cure himself and he had Banner's head on the Hulk's body. I thought that he needed to wear a Hulk mask.
Yeah, he had to wear
out.
a Hulk mask. No, I think those first 6 issues
love
of
that shit.
Incredible Hulk are insane. Like he can fly in one of them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He can just straight up fly.
Yeah.
And I think from reading about that, that's literally just Kirby doing whatever he wants. And then Lee's like, oh, fuck, I got to try and explain this somehow. Oh, it is. But you're right. It's so great. And it's so off-putting and terrifying in this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that first panel is amazing. And then he wakes up to Topaz kind of gently shaking him, saying like, Jack, you've got to wake up. And then Buck is like, oh, we didn't want to wake you, but it's getting dark. And I like how the letters on that last on It's Getting Dark are real kind of quiet. Like, Buck's like, come on, it's going to happen.
At the side of his mouth.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And Jack is like, oh, yeah, I guess it is time to put the werewolf out for the night.
And Taboo's in a semi-coma.
Yeah.
In and out of consciousness.
Yeah. So Topaz is like, I'll just have to try and sit by Lissa myself, Jack, because Taboo's in a coma, so he can't help with trying to, keep Lissa from transforming, which is their plan. And so Topaz is like, I'll just have to sit by Lissa myself to try to suppress her transformation with my own Esper powers. I've been resting, so perhaps I'll be strong enough this time. So it's a decent plan.
Yeah. It's decent. I like how Jack says, but, if Lissa transforms into the beast, run and find the nearest dark corner. And then he's like saying, they're all kind of dark corners here in this castle. So it shouldn't be too hard to find one. Nice little morbid touch.
I did like that. It said she'd succeeded in that, at least. The castle was made of dark corners.
Yeah.
So I loved that last line of the page. That was good.
So as they're walking down the staircase, they pass Glitter Knight on this, tied to the newel post again. And Jack looks at him and is like, if I make it through this night, Buster, I'm going to personally rip the stinking light out of your guts and wrap it around your throat until you gag. You hear me? And I really like this angry Jack we have right now. I always like when Jack gets a little pissed off. but he's working on a sick mullet.
Yeah, he is.
Perlin's got his back hair growing out. Glitter Knight says nothing, which pisses Jack off. He says, "Hey, I asked you," and he grabs him. He says, "My hand's passing right through." And then Glitter Knight just kind of turns into a weird thing of plug plasma and energy going bloop, 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 bloop. Just a lot of glaring, blinding light tumbling over itself in rolling waves of nothing. And they realize he's not here. This is a dummy. We just got fooled by a decoy. And it's like, oh my God, where's Lissa? We have to get to Lissa now. And I love that last panel of Jack shocked and horrified. It's a really good depiction of him.
It is a good depiction of him. A little Jim Mooney.
Yeah.
A bit in that is what I saw.
She's a Mooney.
But you're right. I love, and this makes sense. Jack's gotten mad before, but now, I mean, Glitter Knight has totally made a monster, like even a bigger monster than he thought that his sister was going to be. And so I think this is accurate. I think Jack is just completely losing his fucking mind. And so his anger works, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I liked when, I think it was Lin Wein was writing those, like that issue 5 when he was sent to kill that old guy. But he was like, doing the Steve McQueen Great Escape shit and like jumping a motorcycle over a barbed wire fence and like taking dudes out with clotheslines and stuff. Like, it's like, I like that too, but that doesn't really fit the character. But this is more like, I like when Jack's being an impudent 20-year-old or whatever he is, and just kind of unleashing on people.
Yeah, I love it. And so I actually liked this next page. I think this is where the quality really goes up, because so we cut to the top of the castle where Glitter Knight is hovering above Lissa, and he's hovering maybe 5 feet above her, which is more terrifying to me than him hovering 100 feet. Like there's something really, really creepy about it.
I thought we were calling it squirreling, but yes, he's squirreling.
And he says, "You will like it up here on the roof, dear Lissa, where you may bathe in the moonlight and the light from Glitter Knight." And so basically the layout of this is it's like 6 panels. It's a 6-panel page. There's 2 rows of 3 skinny panels that switch back and forth between Glitter Knight monologuing and Jack rushing up the stairs to Lissa's bedroom while he is starting to transform himself. So it works really well and really ratchets up the tension. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just love it. And then in that 4th panel, we get another one that you should love, because Jack has his human head and the rest of his body is basically transforming. And Buck is yelling at him like, "Jack, you're starting to change. Don't go in there." And then the next panel is Glitter Knight saying, "Change, dear Lissa, change before your master." And so, yeah, she's starting to turn back into the were-demon.
And it looks painful.
It does. It looks really painful. And I love the narration on that last panel as Jack breaks through, fully transformed into the beast. And the narration is, "Door slapped wall with a bang as I surged to the foot of her bed."
And then the Hall Notes song starts. She's gone.
She's gone. But I do like that because it's the last bit of his human form. He's like, "She's gone. She's." And then he's fully transformed. No, it's a great page. This
page is awesome. He fought off that transformation until he got through the door, and then once he saw she wasn't there, he let go and fully changed. It's awesome. And I also love in that so I love that second panel. Yeah, this page is great. That second panel where he's charging up and we're looking down at them down the staircase. Very cool angle.
Yeah,
the inks and the pencils are great there. And that third panel with Glitter Knight swirling above her and bathing her in that light, and she's starting to change, and she looks like a fucking Grimm's fairy tale troll. Her teeth are getting all gnarly. She's just starting to change. We haven't seen her in mid-transformation like that yet, I don't think.
No.
And of course, like you said, Jack with his human head and furry body completely checks every box I have. Yeah, I love this page. Probably my favorite of the issue, actually.
Agreed.
So the next page, he is fully transformed and he's roaring, and he is raging, and Buck says, "Get back, Topaz." He's about to, and I think he's going to attack them, but he has his sights set on his sister and Glitter Knight. So he charges past them and barrels through them, knocking them to the side. And meanwhile, up on the roof, we get this very strange scene Glitter Knight says, "Arise, dear Lissa, leave the body of that which is now my slave. The transformation is complete, and your soul now belongs to Glitter Knight." And we see the were demon that is Glitter Knight, and Glitter Knight's light is bathing them, and he's pulling her Lissa's soul out. So this ectoplasmic thing is coming out of the were demon, and it's got Lissa's horrified face on it as he's teasing it out of the body. Really disturbing.
It's fucking awful. Like, it's really, really disturbing.
So now Glitter Knight has dear Lissa's soul, and the beast has been charging after, and he just dives through a wooden door and crashes through, and like there's just a bunch of copy about how, like, you know, he feels this drive to get there, and sister isn't a concept he understands, but he feels this bond between them. So then shit gets weirder. This issue just keeps ratcheting up.
It does. It gets really, really weird. But I was glad, you know, I mean, I like it when the point is driven home that he does, even as the werewolf, he does understand that this is his sister, and that this is some really fucked up shit that's happening.
Yeah, family should be important.
Yes,
I think, in the story.
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the story.
Yeah.
And so this next page is a really fucking odd page layout. At first, when I was reading this, and you know, I read this issue twice. When I got to it on the second time, I almost totally changed my opinion of it. Because at first I was just like, I don't like this page. This kind of, I don't understand it. But I actually really like it. So it's mainly a full page illustration of Glitter Knight, you know, flying, squirreling with the werebeast crouch on the ground below him. And there's a leash of light emanating from his chest that is wrapped around the were demon's neck. I mean, it's really, it's rad. And Glitter Knight says, you know, so once again, Taboo's cowardice prevents him from facing me himself. And once again, he sends his werebeast surrogate to battle in his place. And then later on, he says, I hold your soul in my hand, dear Lissa, binding you to my will. And even when I release it, you will obey me and slay the werebeast before you. So basically, he has transformed Lissa's soul into this soul chain, which is, I mean, it's like a chain of light with kind of stars in between every link. I mean, how would you describe this chain?
What you just said, but I mean, it is the weirdest layout I've seen in a comic for a while, because it's an L, it's a capital L, and in the negative space of the L, there are two smaller panels, and the second panel of the insets repeats the first L-shaped panel with new information. Like, it is, I've never seen a layout like this in my life.
It's really strange. So I imagined it as a full page illustration with two inset panels on the right hand side, on the right upper side. And yeah, like you say, in the first inset, it's Glitter Knight speaking. And then the second one, it's the same layout as the main illustration, but it's different action because he's actually let go of the leash. And so it says Glitter Knight dropped the shimmering leash of light and Lissa lunged. Just a lot of alliteration there too. Yeah, it's a confusing layout at first, but I actually kind of dug it at the end because it's really weird. And I've never seen anything like it.
No, I haven't either. And this just leads me to ask again, like, what the hell are souls in this title and how do they work? Like, I mean, he physically manifests her soul into a tether, a leash that she has to, I mean, and the fact that he's saying, like, you know, I want Taboo to come out and face me. Like, where is he, you coward? But he knows Taboo is dead. He dragged Taboo's body out of the site where he and Jack fought and he died. And then he created the tulpa of Taboo. So why does he keep referring to, like, Taboo's my enemy, this big plan he has to thwart me? Like, I don't understand. I
think that's Munch kind of letting us know that, yeah, Glitter Knight is goofy.
He's just crazy?
He's just insane. Like he's insane. But this soul transformed into a leash of light, It's fucking bonkers.
Mhm.
And again, I've never heard or seen anything like this.
Me neither.
So for that alone, I mean, this issue is worth reading because it's batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah. Glitter Knight has loosed Lissa, and she's on the leash, but the leash is loose. So she charges towards her brother, and they lunge at each other. They're growling and hissing and doing whatever. And there's a savage fight where the were-demon has her claws like set in the werewolf's forehead, and they're growling, and neither one recognizes the other. Meanwhile, Glitter Knight's just swirling above, just floating and saying, "My light travels down through your soul and feeds you strength, dear Lissa, strength to slay." And meanwhile, Topaz and Buck have arrived at the rooftop and said, "Oh my God, Buck, we're too late." And Glitter Knight says, "Yes, little Topaz, far too late. The girl is now mine and will serve me until even you lie dead." Buck's like, "What's he talking about, Topaz?" He's like, that chain, Buck, that leash, it means he's stolen Lissa's soul." And she explains that she saw him do this before when she was with Taboo, that he extracted someone's soul and converted it into a soul leash and controlled them with it.
Yeah, but not only controlled them with it, I mean, I have to go to the next page because she says that he would use this chain that he created from their souls to strangle the person to death. Now it's just like, God damn, that is some truly villainous shit.
Yeah.
Like that
Shit.
again, it just leveled up again for just the insane evilness of Glitter Knight, this character that we've made fun of for 3 issues. But now I'm like, holy shit, this guy is for real.
Yeah. True.
Like I somehow have a little more respect for him as a villain. But like, God, on this next page, like the first panel narration, says Lissa slashed. I felt the blood spurt, blinding one eye, and it's just fucking brutal. And yeah, like you say, well, now Taboo shows up. You know, he's woke up finally, and is just like, that chain. Then he's done it. He's taken the girl because Taboo has seen this before. And Topaz is like, "Taboo, get back inside. It's you that Glitter Knight really wants." And then he kind of responds with this really long speech. I'll read a little bit of it, but he's like, "I know that, Topaz, but it's Jack's sister who needs me." It's like Glitter Knight has stolen young Lissa's self-will, her very humanity. He basically is saying that he says, "While I am a mere soul without flesh, neither of us is complete. But should we unite, then at least young Lissa will again become whole." And Topaz is like, "Taboo, you can't mean that. You'd be sacrificing your own life." But he reminds her, he's like, "Life, Topaz? Again, you forget. Even solidified and made carnate as I am, a life essence is still but a pale imitation of life." And he's like, "I cannot sacrifice something I do not possess." So this is basically his death speech. And it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very emotional, and it's really, really good. And Topaz, and he goes towards Glitter Knight and the battle, and Topaz is like, "Come back, Taboo." And he says, his final bit of the speech is, "To what, Topaz? A mockery of existence? No, child, my destiny is an ending, not noble, but merely necessary. And I need you to fulfill it. Decide quickly before Glitter Knight intervenes." Because Topaz is going to have to facilitate this combining of souls or essences or whatever the fuck we're dealing with right now. Like it gets a little confusing, but it's also it's kind of it is a noble sacrifice.
There's nobility there for sure.
There is.
Topaz sheds some tears and says goodbye, Taboo, and bless you. Meanwhile, Jack is trying to choke his sister out with her own soul as a chain. And Topaz starts shooting her psychic rays into Topaz, and he dissipates and turns into ectoplasm and goes into Lissa's mouth, the were-demon's mouth, and causing her to shriek in hoarse agony and to change. And she changes back into Lissa. The transformation confused the beast, which had assumed my body, and I released her because now this monster he was choking out is no longer a monster. And she crumbles to the ground and says, "No longer the were-demon, not even a normal werewolf. She lay lifeless under the full moon. I suppose it qualified as a miracle of sorts. Lissa was Lissa again, human, cured. So this is a point where each time I read this, I'm thinking, I don't understand how souls work in the Marvel universe, if not this book, at least, because I understand in an abstract sense that your soul is your very essence of your being. So if someone takes your soul and rips it out of your body and someone else says, oh, it's cool, I got this, I'm terminal, they can have my soul, you're not you anymore. Like you're playing heart and soul on a giant keyboard in FAO Schwartz. Like it's like big. Like you've changed bodies. You're not you anymore. Your soul is in someone else. So like this really confused me. Like Lissa's soul was taken by Glitter Knight,
transformed into a chain,
choke chain. And so Taboo said, "No, I got this. I'm not really living anyway. The least I can do is give my soul to her." This makes no sense to me.
No,
my Western understanding of a soul.
No, the math does not check out. You shouldn't think too hard on this one because it's it's a little confusing.
Okay.
Just know that, Taboo is making the ultimate sacrifice. It's
very sweet.
It's very sweet, but don't think too hard.
And there's a moment here where, again, Munch says, Lissa's struggles weakened, the stench of doom grew. I think that's the second time he's mentioned the stench of doom. And we're not done yet.
No, we're not done yet. Before we go to the next page, I did like the insanity of that second row of panels on that page.
Man.
Like, it's really fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Tons of Ditko, Kirby, and Plug, just weird mystical energy mojo going on.
Yeah, I definitely saw a lot of Ditko Doctor Strange in that. Which, Perlin really does a good job of that when he wants to. He can really channel that late 60s Ditko so well.
Yeah, definitely. That second row is great.
So in the next panel, Glitter Knight is pissed. The next page, he's saying, "You have cheated me, Topaz." And he shoots an energy bolt down to the ground. And, the narration reads, the bolt of sizzling light was meant for the girl, but it was the werewolf who reacted to it, swerved from his original intent to a new and far more dangerous foe. And so I like that the werewolf starts going towards him, and Glitter Knight gets a little scared, actually. He's like, "Get away, ignorant beast. Topaz has cheated me of slaying the treacherous wizard Taboo. It is her I want." And so he's starting to kind of hover higher. And Jack just grabs onto his weird ass robes. And then the doctor starts flying away from the castle, kind of freaking out, being like, "Release me, let go." Like he's freaking out, which is really nice. And he's going higher and higher. And they're
further away from shore.
Yeah, they're over the ocean now. They're over open water, 200 feet in the air. And it's great. It says, the last narration, "Lighter than a shaft of light, he fled the castle, fled the island, and wafted out over the turbulent sea."
Yeah, I love this. But what I didn't get was when he says, "Topaz has cheated me of slaying the treacherous wizard Taboo." Again, he knows he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
He created the tulpa. I don't understand.
I know. He's crazy, Matt.
Okay, but I do love that the beast just latched onto his robes and will not let go, and that he's just panicking.
He is. He's full on panicking.
Meanwhile, back at the castle, Topaz and Buck are rushing towards Lissa to see if she's okay, because she doesn't seem to be breathing. And then we cut back to Glitter Knight and the beast flying like a kite way over the Pacific Ocean. And Glitter Knight's freaking out, and he's thinking, well, the only way to address this is shooting silver, because silver is damaging to werewolves. So he starts blasting the beast with silver light. And even though it hurts the beast, he just starts kind of climbing up, fighting through the pain, and climbing him like a beanstalk. And he gets up to where he's clutching onto his shoulders and growling in his face, which I fucking loved.
Yeah, no, I love the 3 panels at the bottom are great. They're oddly shaped.
Yep.
And very, very cool.
And I love that it says like, so I climbed in the opposite direction, right up Glitter Knight's chest. It stunned him for a moment. His light died, and my fangs sought the veins of his throat.
Yeah.
They're like face to face, and Glitter Knight's shitting bricks right there, looking him face to face. Like, oh fuck.
He's freaking the fuck out. I love it. And so, yeah, he's freaking out. The next page, he's still blasting the beast with this silver light, which I'm just like, I mean, I'm assuming it's hurting the beast more because it's silver. And I'm also just like, why didn't Glitter Knight fucking think of this, 2 issues ago?
Right.
But anyhow, he's freaking out. He's like, die, beast, you must die. And the beast slashes at Glitter Knight's chest, kind of where these beams come out, and it makes him fucking explode. Like that bottom panel this is an odd page layout again, and like the third panel is at the bottom and is kind of the largest panel of the page. And it's also really awesome. The colors are great in that panel.
Yeah.
He's exploding, and it's purple and red and pink and a little bit of yellow. And the narration is just before he painted the sky with the screaming crimson light of his explosion. Dr. Glitter Knight's soul, or equivalent thereof, had been spectacularly freed. And he plummeted straight down like a violently deflating balloon. It's like, I followed him, of course, but more like a rock. It ended in cold water, presumably forever for Glitter Knight, and quite possibly the same way for me. So they both just plunge into the ocean from like 200 feet above.
Yeah, I love that the beast just slashes at the aperture in his chest.
It's awesome.
I like to think of that as like being like, remember like Iron Man when like Pepper Potts had to like reach in that thing and pull out, and there's all the weird slime in there. Like it'd be gross like that.
Yeah, it would be gross.
But it explodes. Meanwhile, on the last page, we cut back to Topaz and Buck tending to Lissa, saying, thank God she's alive, Buck. He's like, yeah, but just barely. She's like, Lissa's like, oh, the pain in my head, my throat. And then there's this weird moment where I think this is an error, like a cake Rex kind of error, where Buck's word balloon has quotes in it.
I know, it's so weird.
But the way that leash vanished, I'll bet Glitter Knight can't say the same, end quote.
He's quoting Shakespeare, don't you know?
That's like a cake Rex, right? Where it's like, say happy birthday, Sean, but in cursive. And it all just says those words.
No, it's from The Tempest. Don't you read?
So Lissa's like, oh, the dreams. I had the horrible dreams again. I dreamt that Jack and I almost. And Buck's like, hey, forget about him, Lissa. Your nightmares are over. So they're propping up and carrying her. And like, thanks to Taboo, they'll never bother you again. This seems to me like, if you've ever seen The Man with Two Brains, that Steve Martin spoof of like old sci-fi movies.
Yes, not for a long time, though.
So like, in the end, like the woman he loved, the brain he fell in love with gets put in to the hot chick's body or whatever. And then like, turns out she was a heavyset gal who liked eating. So, you couldn't do this today, obviously. But like, the joke is like, you cut forward to them like 3 months later and the gal's heavyset because she's carried on those behaviors. I like to think that she would do something like Taboo. Like she just starts smoking off a hookah or like levitating things around. I don't know. Like, I'm just having a hard time differentiating like Taboo's soul being in Lissa and being her soul now, but not affecting her life in any way.
No, it's really, it's philosophically confusing.
Yeah. And then in the bottom row, we have the beast washing up on the shore. He doesn't know if it's the shore of the island or the shore of Monterey. He doesn't really care. A lot of loose ends had been tied. Both Glitter Knight and Taboo were gone, appeasing the stench of doom. Third time.
3.
Appeasing the stench of doom that had almost smothered the castled island. And Lissa was cured, maybe even for good. But one loose end remained. A silver thread still tied me to the obscene full moon. And we get this nice panel of the beast just keeping on trucking. He hits the ground running. There's night to be had and deer to be stalked, and he's just running. And the Gordian knot tied in that thread, otherwise known as the curse of the werewolf, was still uncut. So I loped off in search of the freedom I would never find. Next, a child lost in a blizzard, the werewolf, and blood stains the snow, in the story called Death in White, which we will not get to for a few weeks because we're doing 2 giant size issues in a row after this.
Are we really?
So in the reading order, it says giant size 4 and 5 in a row. And I think I'm not sure why that is.
Because that's not when they came out.
Yeah. Well, let me do a little preview and see if there's some reason why they would be clumped together between, if for some reason doing the Morbius issue in issue 31 and then issue 5 would be a problem. I don't know.
Yeah. I think there is some reason for that. I mean, you have it in the schedule. It's in every reading order rather than a release order. So yeah, I'm sure there's some way. So yeah, 2 giant size issues in a row. Damn.
Yeah. Not going to lie. I'm a little reticent to, I don't know. We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. We have Brad for the next one. It's gonna be fine.
Brad will help. Yeah,
he will help, and you and I will figure out some way to get through the issue 5 with both of us.
Sure. Yeah, those are long issues. But let's talk about our recaps here, like our favorite moments or what you thought of the issue in general. This is our first 4-part story, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive story. Like this would be a trade today.
Mm-hmm. Did you like it? I mean, like,
yeah, I liked it.
The Glitter Knight saga was a journey.
It's a journey. It's a mixed bag. I mean, I think every issue that Glitter Knight has been in has been a mixed bag. And I think this issue works for me because it has the total bonkers elements that kind of offset the shitty comic elements to it. The soul chain, that awesomely bizarre laid out page where we see the soul chain and Taboo. The whole souls subplot of this is confusing, but it also kind of made this issue work for me.
I feel like I can't separate like my personal meaning of what a soul is enough to like really appreciate what Munch is doing with it. So it's a stumbling block for me for sure to just say, oh, your soul's gone? Here, take mine. No, that's cool. It's like not going to affect anything, I don't think.
No, it's
gibberish.
Yeah, it's kind of gibberish.
Like the fact that was it revealed prior to this issue that Glitter Knight was projecting his soul via the dark light into Lissa? Because I did not pick that up on the previous issues at all. No, that was totally a new reveal. Okay. For this issue. I don't mind stuff being made up as you go along, for craziness sake and for fun, but it just feels a little ramshackle. It is. Mechanics. I feel like I should have prepared myself by maybe reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Yeah. Or, something that would get me into, like you were saying, a less westernized version of what the soul is. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the issue overall, though. I thought it was a cool ending to the story. We all know that even though Glitter Knight exploded and then shot like a deflating balloon into the ocean, that he's not gone. No, he is not gone. This is not our first day. And I like that kind of cliffhangery ending of like, is she cured for good or is she cured of the Glitter Knight influence? That works for me. It definitely works for me as well. So yeah, overall, I'd say I had a favorable opinion of this one because it was especially strange. I thought the art was pretty solid all the way through, and interesting coloring choices from that guy. What's his name? Don Warfield. And yeah, we'll see him next episode in Giant Size 4, featuring Morbius. Warfield's like the best surname ever. It's pretty cool. Do you get more butch than Warfield? No, it's badass. Are you ready for some wear mail? I am. Speaking of war, yeah, I have a little something for you I picked out. Okay. Dear Roy, Doug, and Don, I just spent the past hour writing Munch Pan letters. Here's a change of pace. After his first few issues, Doug brought back the original feel of Werewolf by Night. California Gothic, I believe is the term. Jack Russell once again has depth, and the Russell-Cowan friendship, love, is powerful and real. The auxiliary monsters are good, and the use of the hangman was in line and welcome. I especially love the movies sequence on page 15. It's good to have a villain with motivation, even weird motivation. And the dialogue throughout was natural. Don Perlin, at his best, is reminiscent of a Plug-Brown blend. Who's Brown?
I can't think off the top of my head.
Okay. Though simultaneously totally individualistic. When inked by himself, he is at his very best. Perlin is, in fact, far more cinematic than Boggs Scafford admits. Remember him?
Of T-Boggs?
T-Boggs.
T-Boggs Scafford.
Perhaps the inker change helped this. Check out pages 14, 22, and 23. Don is straightforward, but his cutting and framing is nevertheless exciting and innovative. I hope he can keep up the pace with his new, good War is Hell assignment. Plug. If not, keep his inks here and find someone else for War. Top it all off with a fine Kane, Giordano, Jansen cover, will you? Tempt us, drive us off the edge. Well, it worked, and the come on was worth it. You delivered it. Gee, that feels good. I don't really hate you, Douglas. Just some of your scripts. Roger Clarice, Brooklyn, New York. And Lynn says, good news for you, Roger. Dandy Don Perlin will not be straying from his Werewolf by Night roost in the near future, so he can devote his utmost effort to both pencils and inks. So who, you may ask, brows curved feverishly in torment, will be handling the all-new War is Hell? Happy Herbie Trimpe. Herb, just aching to try another war book after the too long ago Phantom Eagle one-shot and Marvel Superheroes, lo these many years ago, has leaped at the chance to pencil and ink Chris Claremont's pulse-pounding prose, delineating the troubles and traumas of John Kowalski, who lives again and dies again in each issue of War is Hell. And Doug doesn't hate you, Roger. It's just your letters he doesn't like. We're only kidding, Raji. Even an armadillo has to make a joke once in a while.
Hey, any letter and response that is going to mention War is Hell, one of my favorite obscure books, I will love. Now, Herb Trimpe, I actually just reread the two issues that he does. I think he does the last couple issues of War is Hell. Not bad.
Yeah.
Actually pretty good. If you showed me that art and asked me who it was, I would never have said Herb Trimpe.
So I'm in the last two issues of that Planet of the Apes omnibus, and I'm pits deep in the Trimpe stuff, and it's good. I'm shocked that it's him.
So why do both of us? I think that both of us are used to his Incredible Hulk stuff, which is kind of terrible.
Yeah, I feel like it's not great.
But the stuff, the two issues of War is Hell that he does is awesome. Yeah,
the Planet of the Apes stuff, I actually transitioned from Plug into him and didn't realize it for a few pages. This is not Plug. Who is? Oh, this is the Trimpe part. Wow.
Yeah. So are we assholes?
Yeah, we're assholes.
Fuck. Again.
I know there are Trimpe fans. I'm just saying, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to dwell, but yeah, I have any respect for the guy.
Oh, me too. And this is the second time that Len has called himself an armadillo.
Yeah, I'm not quite getting that.
Is it a sex thing?
It's like being a bear.
Oh, Stan's going to talk about it in his next soapbox.
I'm sure he will. Okay, so let's move on to some multimedia stuff. So I picked up Lonesome Days, Savage Nights, Volume 1, The Manning Files, from TKO Comics a while back when I saw it was announced, and I had not ever heard of this imprint before. This was entirely new to me, so I was kind of excited that they have this model where they do individual issues, or you can just buy the trade straight up, which I think is a cool model. What do you think of that?
I think it's a great model, and it's not. And they'll sell you the individual issues, but it's in a nice slipcase box too. So it checks that box for you and me to where we want shit to fit on our shelf. And so, it's a great model.
Yeah. So this was written by Steve Niles, who is an acclaimed, I think he's British writer, who wrote 30 Days of Night. I think is probably his most famous work. Do you know anything else that he's written?
No, I wasn't familiar with the other stuff that I was reading about. I'm only familiar with 30 Days a Night.
Okay. And so this has digital painted art by Salvatore Simeone and Simon Kudransky. And I guess Kudransky worked on Batman the Dark Knight and The Punisher. And I'm not familiar with the Salvatore Simeone. But the art was really not, I'm not typically a digital painting guy, but I really like this art in here. I responded to it quite a bit. It's almost like everything has black backgrounds and he's just adding color and light to things and shaping things out of nothing, of night, of midnight. Mm-hmm. And so that was cool to me.
I liked it. I mean, I'm not sure if he works completely digital, but it reminded me most of Mike Perkins.
Oh, I can see that.
Especially his work on Rucka's Lois Lane, the last thing that he did. There's a similarity to that. I think Perkins' art is a little more streamlined.
Yeah.
I think this stuff, but yeah, I immediately responded to it as well. I thought it was really, really beautiful and captivating.
Yeah, so the premise here, I think this is being presented as the first of hopefully many stories based on sales, I would guess. So this is kind of the establishing story about this guy. And the premise is that this guy is a rookie cop who, in the first days of his training, gets attacked by a homeless vagrant type guy that he thinks, but it turns out to be a werewolf. And he gets turned into a beast himself. And due to the specifics of the attack, he gets drummed out of the force in shame because he loses his service weapon during this event. So he eventually just quits because he's just mocked and whatever. And he becomes a private eye. And he has he meets a girlfriend that he loves who knows about his condition, that he is a werewolf. And he uses it's kind of an interesting werewolf dynamic. Can you talk a little bit about how his werewolfism works?
Well, yeah, it's viral lycanthropy. No curses really involved, like you were saying. And as far as I saw, like the werewolf seems to change kind of when he wants to, right? Like, yeah, regardless of the moon or whatever. And he also seems to maintain most of his intelligence when he's transformed. Most of it, right?
He's in there. He seems to, the way he describes it in the narration boxes is like, it's just me without any kind of restraint. So,
but he remembers everything. He's definitely in there.
If he's standing in a room with his friend and his enemy, he changes. He's not going to attack his friend. He's just a more savage version of himself, essentially. And it's very savage. If you're not into violence, I don't know if you'd like it, because when he gets to hacking and slashing, there's entrails going left, right, up, down. Like it gets pretty gory. Severed heads fly with spines attached.
I did notice the amount of entrails is really off the charts in this book, and that is not a complaint. It's done really well, and it's brutal.
No, not at all. I totally appreciated the violence of it, but it was pretty graphic, if that's something you don't like. But yeah, as far as the story goes, I'm not sure how much I love some aspects of the story. It felt to me like it read like a screenplay. And I don't mean that as an insult, but like there were some beats that are very familiar to me in a movie, like to where it just kind of felt like, oh, we're here, so this is the part where this happens, and that's what happened next. Would you say you had any issues with a story like that? Like,
yeah, I think that. I mean, I did like the story, and if I were to give a review of this book, I would say buy it. I did really like it. This is
a review. This is what we're doing right now.
Okay, well, buy it. I did really like it, but story-wise, yeah, I felt like the beats were a little movie predictable. Mm-hmm. And reading this and trying to kind of come up with judgments and reviews at the end, it made me kind of question what my level of hard-boiled is. Like, how much hard-boiled can I take before it becomes cheesy?
You're right.
And I think that this goes right up to the line.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, again, the writing just kind of hit some beats that we expected, and it had a very kind of comfortable arc. which was not, I tend to like more kind of stonery, weird stuff that goes in weird places and kind of zigs when you think it's going to zag. This one was very traditional storytelling arc for me. Like this felt like a film, and that's not an insult, but I did know where it was going when it went somewhere. I was like not surprised by some of the beats, I guess. But I would recommend people buy it too. I think it's worth checking out, and I hope they do more because as an origin story, this is totally solid. If they go further with this, I would love to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I would too. And obviously at the end, it's set up to have more stories. I mean, there's definitely sequels, hopefully in the works. But yeah, I see this as something that could be a real good jumping off point for some more differently structured stories, not maybe so traditional. Yeah,
it felt very traditional to me as well. So yeah, I think that I recommend it. It sounds like you recommend it. Hopefully there's more coming. So if you want to check this out, it's from TKO Comics. So go to tkopresents.com and check out Lonesome Days, Savage Nights. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm glad I bought it.
Yeah, I loved reading it. It was a lot of fun. And the quality of the paper and the cover, like it's a beautiful presentation.
Yeah, I'm into TKO right now, so I want to check out some more stuff they have because this was impressive. Like, I don't know how this came up on my feed. I feel like I just got fed this to me through our Instagram or something because of parameters of werewolves or I don't know what horror, but I'm glad I found it and I dug it. As far as switching gears, we also watched the second/third Paul Naschy film. So as we mentioned when we talked about the first Paul Naschy film, he claims that there was a movie called The Knights of the Wolfman that was shot in Paris and he thought was mostly done and it was lost. And there are stories about maybe it went to a lab and the lab threw it out after a few years of no payment. Maybe he did some principal photography and it got abandoned. No one knows, but they do say that story of the second film got recycled very heavily in the fourth film. So it possibly was just abandoned after some principal photography. So this is technically the second film. What is it called, Jacob?
Well, it's called Los Monstruos del Terror, and it's the English translation is Assignment Terror.
Yeah, it's Monsters of Terror, but they cut it up for the English, for the American TV version, and it was called Assignment Terror, yeah. So we really dug the first one, The Mark of the Wolfman.
Totally.
It was beautifully shot. It was shot for CinemaScope or whatever and 3D, and it was levelly made and very exploitative at the same time. And it was just the perfect mix of like violence and cinematography. And this one was different. So the strange thing about the Waldemar Daninsky Wolfman films of Paul Naschy is that they aren't necessarily all sequels in the truest sense. So from one film to another, he might have that same name, but they'll change his origin. So I believe in the next film, they show him getting bit by a Yeti, and that's what causes his lycanthropy. So like it will just change from film to film, but he's always got the same name. But in this one, it seems like this is a direct sequel.
That's what I thought.
Okay. So set this one up a little bit because this one was a stark contrast to the first one for me. So the first one was set in the 20s, I feel like.
It seemed like it, yeah. 20s or teens. And this one seems to be set in, I don't know, what would you say, the 50s or 60s?
It feels like it's set in the swinging 60s.
It does feel like it's set in the swinging 60s. So, yeah, I mean, Waldemar is a character in this. But God, I mean, I guess to describe it, so these two aliens come down and inhabit bodies of humans, and their mission is to destroy all of humanity, right?
Yes. So the main alien is the guy that played Klaatu in The Day of the Earth Stood Still. Michael Renner. I forgot what his name is, but so he comes to our planet from Umo, and they resurrect the bodies of two dead scientists with like the essence or spirit of two of these aliens. So they are working to conquer the human race to because this is the closest planet environment wise, habitable wise, habitation wise to their planet. So their planet's dying. They need to take over the Earth for their place. So they come here, and the master plan is to find the things that we are superstitious or wary or scared of, and to use those fears against us to conquer us in order to conquer the Earth, in order to colonize it.
Yeah, and they figure out that our fears revolve around the universal film monsters.
Yeah.
And so they basically try to resurrect, and I guess their plan is to make like thousands of copies of these monsters to help them.
Yes, cloning.
They're going to clone all these monsters. So we're dealing with Frankenstein, a Dracula type character, the Wolfman, the living mummy. And
well, it's not even Frankenstein. He's a Frankenstein-esque. It seems like
Frankenstein and Dracula.
Frankenstein.
Oh my God.
I can't even pronounce the name.
So
and the Golem.
This is Plan 9 from outer space.
It's Plan 9 from outer space.
Okay, we should get that out of the way right at the beginning here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. My main disconnect was the film starts with this communication between the alien planet and the leader of the aliens, and they're explaining, exposition, the plot, and then it jumps into so the first contact point is you got to get quote unquote Dracula's skeleton from this carnival where they're showing his skeleton off with a stake in his chest. The first, that's the seed that starts this mighty oak growing, is to get Dracula going. So they do this introduction explaining their plan to conquer the Earth, to colonize it for this species, this planet. And then it goes into the credit sequence, and the music is so starkly different from the first film. The first film was like Hammer-esque, and like it's set in the first part of the 20th century. It's got strings and it's whatever. It's very traditional. And this just goes into straight up like go-go, like Eurospy, Three Supermen, like just silly sex comedy music. Let's play a little bit right now, actually. Hold on. Okay. So here's a little bit of the music that you hear.
The first objective is Flaustadt Fairground.
So yeah, that took me by surprise. I didn't expect that to be the soundtrack. So from there, they basically continue in their plan, resurrecting the monsters. And more per our podcast, I did think one of my favorite things was how they resurrect the werewolf, which is basically by performing open heart surgery on him. To remove the silver bullet that he got from his lover at the end of Mark of the Werewolf. So this is a direct sequel of his story.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's this extended surgery scene, which I thought was really funny and entertaining.
Yeah, which is a typical sleazy exploitative thing, right? To use like open heart surgery footage to A, gross out people, and to B, take care of like shooting something original.
Yeah, totally. And it was super goofy. But then once they took the bullet out of his heart, and of course he resurrects because of course,
mm-hmm.
But then they give him a serum to prevent him from transforming. And he's basically their slave
mm-hmm.
for most of the movie.
Yeah. I had an issue like with this because I think the last film we talked about was in 1968. This was like made in 1970 after the Lost film. I was having a hard time with Paul Naschy or whatever his real name was, like being on board with this. Like this is a logical sequence Like this should follow the first film I did, because the first film felt like it was a loving homage to Universal and Hammer and modernizing them and making them a little more kind of lurid for today's audiences. And this one felt like go-go dancing, like just silly. Not the whole thing wasn't silly, but like,
oh no, it was all silly.
It was weird.
It was very weird. But correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the fucking screenwriter.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, he's not without blame here. The thing that I thought was weird is that I felt like he's kind of blowing his wad on the second movie. It'd be like if Mark of the Werewolf was Godzilla and then the next movie was Destroy All Monsters.
Right.
It's just like, nope. Okay, this is our sequel. It's bringing.
He's jumping ahead.
He's jumping 6 movies ahead that he should have established all these characters. And then it's exciting because we know them and they all come together. But in this, I'm just like, who is this bargain basement Frankenstein? Like, who is this guy? And I don't know. It was a big disappointment from Mark of the Werewolf, which I think is one of my favorite werewolf movies now.
Yeah, it's up there pretty high for me, actually. I was surprised how much I enjoyed the first one.
I just loved it. And this was just a fucking disappointment. It was so bizarre and so poorly done.
So Dracula doesn't have the name Dracula. Frankenstein has a different name. I don't know why, but like Frankenstein looked like Henry Winkler.
He totally did.
And they were committed to the Universal, the brow, which is such a weird thing because, you know, like Hammer just said, we can't do it because we'll get sued for one thing, but let's just do our own take with Christopher Lee. And so it's weird to go back to the weird Frankenstein head for me. See, in 1970.
That wasn't even the weirdest part of the Frankenstein character for me. The weirdest part was he never opens his eyes.
I know.
I was just like, I think my wife wandered in.
He hits the jukebox and goes, hey.
He goes to take his meetings in the bathroom. But no, my wife walked in and she's just like, is Frankenstein blind? And I was like, yeah, maybe.
He's just super baked, all right? That's just his thing, man.
He looked really baked. Like it was just, it was nutty and was supposed to be fun, I guess. But the mixture of the recipe was all off for me. Like I did not enjoy this movie at all. It enraged me the longer I watched it.
So it was a Spanish, German, Italian co-production. I think the directors were Italian. In the beginning, so when the aliens are saying, well, you know, we're going to capitalize on the Earthlings' fear, the superstitious fears, and they go through this like giant book of monsters, and they say, you know, like, the mummy of like Egypt, and we meet the mummy. I mean, what did you think of the mummy, man? He looked like he was. You thought Frankenstein was sleepy. This mummy looked like he was like at an opium den the whole fucking film.
Yeah, the monsters all seemed pretty drugged up.
If Frankenstein's Henry Winkler, he was definitely Al.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I read some of the background of this, and I guess they ran out of money, so they had to kind of pull in some of their planning while they were making this. But in the beginning, they introduced the Golem of Prague, and then they just jettisoned that because they lost the money. Like, plus.
Yeah, he doesn't even show up. And
do you need Frankenstein's monster, mummy, and golem all shambling in one goddamn movie? Because
slowly
they didn't bring much to the game.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was a mess.
So I was a little disappointed. I
was really disappointed.
I was expecting a lot more based on the first one. So I was a little crestfallen.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I think I just was like you. I just had my expectations really high from the first film. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to go through all these, but my expectations are way low now.
Yeah, good. That's probably for the best.
Probably.
Another thing I had an issue with, like, I don't remember what the makeup was like in the first film, but in the second one, I read some quote from somebody who worked on this one, by the way, that said that I think Paul Naschy said the makeup artist on this film was the most incompetent person he'd ever worked with in his life, which makes sense. Like you can see the creases in Frankenstein monster's forehead, where his brow is glued on. One thing that really bugs me in this part of the series is when the Wolfman doesn't have a wolf nose, like any kind of dog nose. So he looks like a rat. Like he looks like a human rat man. His nose is human, and his cheeks and forehead are covered with fur, and his chin. It looks weird.
It does look weird, but you know, Paul Naschy was the best thing about this movie.
Yeah.
When he finally does transform into, I mean, we have to just call him a wolf man. But when he finally does it, like his transformations are really great. And it's not about the makeup. It's about his acting. And he really goes for it. And he makes, you know, I mean, I think like Bela Lugosi did for Dracula, I think Paul Naschy makes the werewolf sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
I'll buy that.
Like he absolutely kind of sensualizes the transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the best part for sure.
Absolutely.
The story stunk to high heaven. The alien stuff was totally unwelcome. Like you said, it's way too early for a monster rally. We did not need this yet. He still needs to meet a Yeti. He still needs to go to Japan. Like there's stuff to do before you have a monster rally.
Yeah.
And when the monster rally is half people that are like injured players that are just limping towards you slowly through a catacomb, not that scary.
No, it's not scary. And man, yeah, the Plan 9 comparisons just go on and on.
Yeah, it's hard to not compare it to Plan 9 based off the premise. So yeah, I watched this one stone cold sober, and it did me no favors.
Yeah, no, would not recommend at all.
So yeah, so next we'll be watching The Fury of the Wolfman. We'll do that after we have Brad on.
Yeah, so we'll do that as our other media for Giant Size Werewolf number 5.
Yeah, and hopefully I can find the Northern European cut that is unedited, that has lots of boobs in it. That's called The Wolfman Never Sleeps.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time hunting down a print of that. So we might have to find the edited version.
Ugh, how lame.
But next week we will be here with Brad Elmore to talk about Giant Size Werewolf number 4 with Morbius. Thanks for listening this week, listeners. Jacob, how can they reach us if they want to send us a letter?
Well, I would do Werewolf by Night podcast at Gmail. That's the best way to reach us. We love to hear from people. You can tell us what to read, what you think of the show, what you think of us in general. We are narcissists, so we welcome any kind of comment is good for us. And if you could leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you listen on, Apple Podcasts especially, if you could leave us a 5-star review, definitely helps our profile online for the podcast services. So yeah, do us a solid.
Right. Yeah. Don't do us like Paul Naschy just did.
No. And if you leave us a 5-star review, take a screenshot of it, send it to us. I will personally send you some buttons made from actual issues of Werewolf by Night. They are really cool.
Wait, it has to be a 5-star review now.
Yeah, I think we should just go for it. I know we said anything matters, but I don't think we were genuine in that. I think we always wanted 5-star reviews.
Well, I think we have all 5-star reviews and 1 4-star.
Yeah, we have 1 anonymous 4-star.
And I think the 4-star didn't even comment. They just rated 4 stars, moved on.
Well, you know,
So,
I wish I was a bigger man, but I'm not. That 4-star.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for listening this week, listeners. Join us next week with Brad Elmore for Giant Size Werewolf number 4 with Morbius. Till we meet again, neath the full moon, furry ones. Here's how it at ya.